Hello, welcome back to another episode of Swans Cast. It's been a while since we've last been here, but I'm welcome back by Lee and Nikki, who hasn't actually been here for a good while. So welcome back, both of you.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Thought they were going to wind me up then. We just tried recording and I did the whole introduction and nobody could actually hear me. So I was a little bit tentative there until you both spoke, but I'm glad that we haven't got the technical difficulties this time. So, but yeah, it's been about a month, I think, since the last one. Kind of difficult to sort of talk about a lot. So we took a little bit of a break. I think Lee being away, haven't you? And you had a nice time gallivanting around Europe. But yeah, it's just been, we left talking about the fact that Russell Martin was going to go to Southampton. And we've returned about 28, 29 days later with the fact that it only got confirmed the day before recording this podcast. So been a long time coming.
I don't know why it's been dragging out for so long though. Like, it's the worst kept secret in history. We knew it was happening. I don't know why it was dragging out for so long. Yeah, and why now?
We'll get into the detail. Like, the club put a statement out, didn't they? But before we start, I just want to do a little bit of introductory stuff. So as always, thank you for everyone for their continued support. Come to the end of this podcast season, we'll flick over to, like, I guess, starting season 4 soon. Maybe after we get clarification of the manager situation, and then we'll call it a fresh start for the new season. But we did say that we were going to give a shirt away as a giveaway for getting to 500 subscribers. So we'll get that sorted and announce details of how that's going to be run in the next episode. And then the winner will basically get to choose which kit they want and tell us the size and whatever. But yeah, we'll announce details of that. So thanks as always. And if you want to take part and be involved for any future giveaways and keep up to date with anything we're doing, just don't forget to click the subscribe button, which should be underneath Nikki somewhere at the bottom of the page. Or if you're listening on Spotify, just give us a follow there. And we appreciate all the support, whether that's through video or audio. So we'll get cracking then into the content, because we have got quite a bit to discuss. Obviously only one place to start, and that is Russell Martin. He is no longer Swansea City manager. It has been confirmed that he has joined Southampton finally. I think you, Lee, was telling us that you thought it was going to be confirmed after Southampton played their last Premier League match, out of respect for their last manager. How long ago was that now?
That's well over a month ago, isn't it?
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
Long time. But he's gone. He's finally gone. So what do we think then, Nick? Let's get your views. We haven't heard anything from you for a good couple of months. So Russell Martin, how did you find him, first of all? And are you happy or not happy that he's gone?
Well, that's a good question, to be fair. I'm not. I would have probably have liked to have seen what he could have maybe built, because we've gone through this sort of transition period over the last 2 seasons sort of thing. So we had a good end to the season, didn't we? When we went so many games unbeaten. But I probably would have liked to have seen what he could have done, maybe with a bit of fresh blood. But I don't think I'm too gutted that he's gone. I think we need someone who can come in with a bit of a more a pragmatic approach.
Yeah.
Somebody who can make us. I know we play nice football on times, but I don't know if he had the plays to do it in the first place. With a bit of backing, maybe we could have done a lot more. But you need a man in there with the budget that we got to be pragmatic and make us hard to beat, essentially.
Yeah. So you're essentially saying Steve Cooper should have not.
I never had a problem with Steve Cooper. I think he was a good manager with what we had.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a results business. Everybody wants to see the nice ticky-tack football, but I don't think necessarily that it works nowadays. Even Man City, Pep Guardiola, Man City, they do play nice football, but they still go long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't always try and play in these neat triangles. Sometimes
what was that FA Cup goal? Wasn't it like seconds, and they lumped it up and something came with it?
They went long. Yeah. So I think we under Martin, I don't think we had enough variation in our game.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what when the new manager comes in, whoever the new manager comes in, what sort of style he has.
Well, we'll get on to who potentially might be replacing Martin in a little bit, and talk about, use some good words there, which I had in my little agenda of what we might be looking for. But you did raise some good points in regards to the manager style. So like Russell Martin, tiki-taka, when Steve Cooper left, everyone was getting fed up of the defensive style of football. It's boring to watch. We're always hanging on to 1-0 wins, relying on Ayew to score, and then just sit back. Everyone's like, towards the end, just getting fed up of it, rightly or wrongly. People obviously have their opinions. And it's just funny that we go through the bad period under Martin and you get the same sort of vibe. And it's like, oh, we need to be hard to beat first. And it's like, well, that's kind of what we were. And then you were moaning about it. So football's fickle, isn't it, at the end of the day, I guess. But Lee, what are your views then on Russell Martin leaving? Happy or not happy? And how do you think of the situation?
I don't know, really. It's a bit of a boring answer, but it's kind of like no feeling at all, really. Like Nicky said, I'd like to have seen what he could have done. But what we've lost is, like, potentially something good. Like, we didn't know if it was going to happen.
It's you, apparently. I think you froze sort of a bit there. Do you wanna go back?
Oh, I did, sorry.
It was quite good timing because you said, like, what we've lost is, and then you froze. So I was like, well, turns out
right.
we've lost you.
No, what I was saying was, what I was saying was we lost, like, a what if. We lost, like, oh, if he could have got better. But who knows if he started the season like he did last year, losing, like, so many games in the first, and then it would have been rubbish again. So we kind of lost a what if rather than, oh, we lost somebody who's, like, ripped up trees and won loads of games. So I think that's how I feel about it, really. I think just, I would have liked to have seen it, but now we don't get to see it. It's not like a massive problem. I think he did have his faults. We had some good times under him, and we had some really, really bad performances as well. So, it's just one of them. We seem to change managers every 2 years anyway. So,
yeah, I mean, well, that's another point that I was going to actually raise, right? So, scrolling through like the discourse online, so the Facebook groups, the Twitter, all that stuff, which is lovely to read all the time. Just to try kind of see reaction. I mean, you've got to take some of it with a pinch of salt these days because people do go over the top. But I did see some people talking about how, like, Swansea can't keep a manager. Swansea can't, like, they're either getting poached by bigger clubs. We can't keep them here, or we sack them, or whatever. And I was like, okay, fair. That is the case. Probably we haven't had a manager that's lasted longer than 2 seasons for quite some time. But have many clubs really been in that situation? I think that's just the current sort of scenario around the football world, really, isn't it? Especially when you're in not the Premier League. So in a lower league, if you manage it as well, they tend to get snapped up by a club that's in a higher position. And if they're not doing so well, then you probably don't keep them yourselves. And ultimately, 2 years is kind of like maybe an average or above average even lifespan of a manager these days. So I don't know how vocal and critical you can be of the club for not being able to sustain a manager for longer, because I think 90% of the league or English league system is probably in the same boat.
Well, I'm sure I read something actually where it said the average lifespan of a manager is actually 1 year and 3 months. Yeah. So the thing with Martin for me, like you say, you are right, Luke. But he said, like, if you have a manager, and he's not doing well for us, you get rid, or if have a good run of games, somebody tends to take them up. But we do. I think we had a good end of the season, didn't we? But I think we overlooked the fact that he won 3 in 23 games. We could have got rid of him. We could have got rid of him ourselves, and he would never have had the Southampton job. He's probably looking down the league again, going back to League One. As a mid-table team where we finished, he's probably going back to League One. So he never had that opportunity. So, like you said, it's a bit of a funny one, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is what I mean about it being fickle. Like, I mean, I think that a lot of the people who maybe are saying this now, saying, "Oh, we should have done more to try and keep him," perhaps wouldn't have batted an eyelid if we had also got rid of him after that period of games you just mentioned.
Yeah, definitely.
And what was it? The difference between those 2 points was about 10 games or 8 games or something, where we pulled a bit of form together and shot up the table in like 7 wins in 9, I think it was, to end the season. The last 9 games, so, and 2 draws.
I think that added a bit to his CV, didn't it? Finishing the season like that, I think it sort of inflated his position, didn't it?
Yeah, I can't imagine Southampton would have been in for him if he didn't recover from the difficult spell. I think maybe that's a good point as well. If they've seen him go through a difficult spell and recover, maybe that gave him more credibility, although a lot of people have said he would never have the same opportunity to recover if that happened to him at Southampton.
Well, Southampton will be looking to bounce back straight away, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? If they go on a run of where they haven't won a game, and I wouldn't even say 10. I would dare say 10. They're probably looking to change a manager there. You know what I mean? It's that so. You're going into just coming down from the Premier League, you go into a bit deeper depths, aren't you? You know, as a
They're
club.
they're probably going to chuck money at it as well. So I think if he doesn't start well, there's no like trust the process or anything. It's got to be instant.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see if he can implement his style on Southampton, how quick he can do it. They'll have better players than what we got, but does he have the right players there to do it, or is he? You know,
it'd be interesting. Apparently, they've got some sort of investor that used to be part of the Man City background, and he's come to Southampton, and he wants to. I don't know if it's investor or director or someone in behind the scenes anyway, and he wants to try and like go the Man City style of approach, which is why they looked at Martin at this level, or someone that can kind of do that at this level. So that's they want a whole change of like philosophy. So that's why they looked at him. Whether he can hit the ground running there. I mean, a lot of people said that he would have been able to do better here with the more back in. He's going to have the opportunity to show if that's true or not. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
The Sky articles have come in saying how Southampton could be like flying in the league this year and all that. So they're getting tipped to do well. He's got the pressure there. Can he manage it, I wonder?
I don't know. I think with us, it feels like it's not 2 years because we need a longer period to sort of fix us, if that makes sense. I know like managers probably only stick around for 2 years these days, but we almost need someone to be there for like a good 4 years to sort of get us going again. Because like we come out of Cooper.
I think that's the only thing that riled me. Sorry, Lee. Go on.
No, I just think we come out of Cooper.
I think that's the only
thing. To change the style.
That proper riled me about Martin. Was the fact that he was at the end, you know, he was like, no, I'm here for the long term. I know Martin's saying these things and they say daft things, you know what I mean, and things like that. But, you know, he'd been saying it throughout the last sort of 2 years that he's been here. He's been saying, I'm here for the long term. We really love the city. We enjoy living here. But I think, don't say these, you know what I mean? It's just like...
Just do your job.
Yeah, you look like a bit of an idiot now. You know, if you know what I mean. You just look like, you know, and nothing has been said. It's like sort of like in the, like, I know, like obviously the Swansea hierarchy probably try to keep under wraps about compensation and things like that. Nothing's been said, but nothing's sort of come out, and he's just gone, and like that's it. He's just gone. If you know what I mean. Yeah,
I'll gradually back in now when he rejoins. I think he's having issues with delays, so he might be reloading in. But yeah, so that's probably why you two are interrupting each other. I think it's getting delayed. It's all good. You'll be back in a second. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, Martin has always kind of gone heavy on the like passion and the fans are on board. Like, I feel a connection with the fans, feel a connection with the club. He's always gone really heavy on that. And I know last video we were talking about some of the stuff that was coming out on Twitter with one of the fans messaging one of the was this Jake Silverstein or something who was talking about stuff, and he was saying like Martin gives you the good story in the media, but he's out for himself basically. And I guess maybe as much as it was very unprofessional for them messages to happen, he probably had a point in what he was saying. And can you blame Martin for doing it? At the end of the day, he's trying to climb the career ladder, saying all the right things, getting all the people who were getting all the right attention, if you like. So, like, he made the agenda, like, I'm not getting supported, I'm getting outdone by, and I'm doing a good job because of that. And whether you believe that is the case or isn't the case, I guess maybe Southampton looked at it and thought whatever the situation is, he's done a good job out of it and have taken the punt on him and he's benefited. So I guess it's a lesson learned, like any manager that says they're buying in. We're probably not going to don't fall too much in love with them because they're probably not going to be here for the long duration, even if it's a case of they don't see it coming. Like, if they're going to get to the situation of doing really well, you're probably going to lose them unless you're getting promoted, and then you might get one more season. Really.
Yeah. It's. I agree. Like, you should never sort of like, you know. Well, to be fair, like, the jury's been out on me for a while, but I don't know. I just think it's all been sort of like a bit odd. The whole. That's why I think a lot of probably fans, like Lee said earlier, probably haven't got like a feeling about it. You know what I mean? It's like sort of like he's given it. You know, he's given, like you said, he's got the passion. He was like he was trying to play the fans up, wasn't he? He was trying to.
Yeah.
But like apparently this is what he did at MK Dons.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was getting at. I think that was brought up in them conversations. They did exactly the same thing at MK Dons.
So I think it's all just a bit odd. I'm intrigued to what he actually probably says now in a statement that he's now Southampton manager, maybe relating back to the Swans, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I was asking you about this, Lee. Do you think he's going to say something? Because he haven't yet, have he, from what I can see?
I think he will say something, but it's an easy out for him to say after the January transfer window. I think he played on that big time. Like, I moaned to you in the podcast, like, week in, week out after January, where it just seemed like he downed tools.
Yeah.
And now looking back at it, it probably was a smart move. When we did that press conference when he brought in all the staff, and he's like, the staff work so hard, sort of playing on the violins. And it was frustrating. But then the next couple of games, he literally just he gave up. We lost 4-0 away at Sheffield United, and it was a catastrophe. Like, could have been 8 or 9. And he was just sort of well, they spent money on players. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I get it, you're frustrated, but, if there was a long-term goal there, then he would just say, right, okay, it's frustrating, but maybe we look again in the summer.
Yeah.
I don't know, that annoyed me, that period, because I think, initially, it was a bit annoying, and then it just seemed to be you're taking it too far now. His attitude was sort of going onto the pitch as well.
Yeah, and I think he did recognise that in himself eventually, but maybe it's easy to say that when you realise how close he came to the playoffs. He wouldn't have known Southampton at that time perhaps were coming into him, and he could have been, if that period didn't happen, when he finally reflected and the results did start improving, I wonder if he sat back and thought, well, I could have been a Premier League manager. Because it could have been. I mean, technically, what was it, 2 wins in that 24-game period? That's all you would have needed.
Potentially, yeah, he could have been.
And then it's a cup, and it's a little cup, so anything could have happened. I'm not saying I think we would have gone up or anything.
I don't think it would have been. I don't know if I don't know if I was saying to Lee or somebody before. I think if we got into the playoffs, you look at the teams in the playoffs. Obviously, Sunderland, when we beat them twice all the season. You know what I mean? Luton went up. I know Kenilworth Road is a hard place to go. Nobody really wanted to get them in the semi-final going there. You know what I mean? Tight pitch, fans on top of you, long ball coming in. Obviously, Sunderland absolutely got dismantled. You know what I mean? Within 10 minutes. I think though, if Swansea possibly could have gone in there, I would have fancied if we didn't play Luton in the semi and we played them maybe in the final, I would have fancied our chances there on a big pitch.
On the other pitch, yeah.
Yeah, just a big pitch for us to play on. That suits our style, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We would have played. Not saying we've been guaranteed or anything, but we would have had a good chance. But I don't know. It's like you said about downing tools. I agree with that as well. But I don't know.
I think the problem was as well. I think the championship season was really, really poor. Disrespect, but Luton and Coventry in the playoff final, and even ourselves, we were going a run of 3 wins in 20 whatever games it was. We should have been in a relegation battle. Nearly sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think it was a really poor championship season. Other seasons we've been in, when when we got promoted, the Norwiches, the QPRs, the Leeds, all these teams were quality.
Yeah, I think a lot of these, Norwich and these teams will come down, except for Sheffield United, went up as well. But Burnley was a standout, weren't they? They were just head and shoulders above the rest. See you later, gang. We're off. You know what I mean? But I like you said, I think it was just a lot of teams in the league that just underperformed. They were disappointing, like your Norwiches, and these teams, Watford. These big teams who were normally knocking around automatics and. The playoff positions just absolutely just didn't show up, did they, for a whole season? It'd be interesting to see.
The problem is they'll be back next year.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I tell you what, this league next season, it's not going to be enjoyable. We got big team coming up Sheffield Wednesday. We got Leeds coming down, Leicester coming down, Ipswich coming down. You know what I mean? You're getting some big teams in this league now. You know what I mean? Like Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, even Southampton coming down is. People say Southampton's not really a bigger team than us, but they are.
Southampton. Well, of course they are. We are. If you say on fan size and what have you, we're a championship team, aren't we? You know what I mean? We punched above our weight for a few years and that. You know what I mean? But if you're being realistic and calling a spade a spade.
Yeah. So onto like the move itself then, and not really sure the detail. Like there was a big hold up. Apparently it was about compensation. That's even in the Sky article announcing the move now. So there's a statement from Swansea, and this is what it says. So the club stands firm in our belief that we are owed full compensation for Russell, and we will continue working diligently and strategically, their favourite words, by the way, the Americans, to protect the best interests of the club. Swansea City would like to place on record its thanks to Russell for his work during his time in SA1. The club will update supporters regarding a new first-team coaching staff in due course. So that a couple of things from that. The last bit there makes me think, and we'll go on to this in a minute, but they obviously have someone lined up if they're updating us in due course. So they probably wouldn't mention. They would have said something like, the club will now start the search for a new first-team coaching staff or something. So I feel
I think that might be why they waited so long.
Yeah, so the rumours there are
someone in place.
Probably true, which we'll go on to talk about in a minute. And then the other thing is with the compensation. That clearly isn't resolved yet, which apparently it was also part of the hold-up. So from what I gather from it, there's a clause in Russell Martin's contract, and I think we might discuss this in the last podcast. If a Premier League club approached him, they would do this certain amount of money as a release clause. And if it wasn't a Premier League club, then it was a different amount, from what I gathered. And the issue I think they're trying to say is Southampton approached him while they were a Premier League club, so we should be due the full amount for that. And then Southampton are obviously saying, well, we were confirmed relegated, so we don't consider ourselves in, for the following season. So that was the dispute from what I can gather, and clearly is still not fully resolved. So what do we make of that then? Difficult one to kind of digest.
No,
maybe
it screams to me like, everybody was crying because apparently Steve Cooper was going for the Crystal Palace job while we were in the playoffs, which still don't know if that's true, to be honest. But I wouldn't be surprised if talks were going on when we were on this run to get into the playoffs. That because there was a rumor that Leicester might come in for him. So I think there was already stuff going on behind the scenes when the season
agents
was
sniffing around, probably.
Yeah, we probably knew about it. So I think it's the same sort of treatment. He knew he wanted out. And I think on the compensation thing, depends on the difference, really. If it's like, if we're talking millions.
There's a couple of £100,000 by all accounts. But I think not just 100,000. There's a couple of 100,000, like a couple of 100,000.
I think it's like maybe between half a million and it's not like quite a million. It's like 500,000 and something. So you're talking a lot of money for a football club.
The club was trying to say if you get the maximum amount, it means whatever they get for him, they're not going to have to pay out for a new manager to buy him out. Yeah. So they wanted to cover at least a buyout of a new manager. So they were pushing for the higher fee. So
that's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where we go back into we talking about a little bit about. I know we talking about results and saying like football's fickle fans. Where when we sold players for cheaper than what they were worth, like Connor Roberts and particularly players like this, and we sold them, and fans were why are we selling these players for why aren't we getting what we do for our players? But Joe Roden, all these players, But then once we actually stand and go, no, for the manager. I can understand the other side of it where we need a manager in place for pre-season, otherwise it just messes, a good 3 months into the season up. But when we actually stand firm and we go, no, we want what we do, fans are going, just get rid of him. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I saw. The Sigurdsson situation from a couple of years ago where we held out for a massive fee but couldn't replace him. That's what I've been reading about, people using that as an example, which, all right, fair. But like you're either going to get less or you're going to hold out for more and have less time. Is kind of
I kind of like the backbone of it. I kind of like it, showing a bit of grit and just going, no, you pay us what they should have done this for players in the past. I think I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they've learned from their mistakes now as well. Like if like forbid that like Grimes goes or Pirro or something like that. Well, Pirro maybe look like he may be going to Italy, maybe perhaps. We hold on. We go, no, this lad has scored 20 goals a season in the league. We want what's due.
Yeah, that's fair. I like it. I think it has to start happening because we're talking about people always come in and poach our managers and our players, but because in the past, like teams have been able to do it so easily. like on the cheap, or they can just come in and go, oh, we want that. I always used to moan all the time and say, every time we had a manager that would have a good run of games, they'd be linked with someone. But then you had someone like Thomas Frank with Brentford. I know, like, he's taken him up now, but he was never linked with any other job when he didn't get promoted, and they were like the best team in the league for ages. There was not that I know of, there was any links or chances of him leaving. So I agree. I think I want us to have that backbone now, and just, I think when they sold Connor Roberts and them, I think they were just sort of desperate to get money in, and maybe there was a lot of teams that played on that. But we didn't get what we should have. But hopefully now they keep saying that we're in a better financial position. So hopefully now we can just sort of get what we do for the good players we got and the manager.
It was like the Matt Grimes thing when he was going to go to Fulham, was it? And it was like 2 million fee, and some people were like, "Oh, that's fine. Like it's better than losing him for free." And I'm just like, he's still got a year left. He's worth more than 2 million. He's the captain of the club and like our best player in the centre of the park. Like everything goes through him.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's got a year left, 2 million is a steal.
Like, everyone wanted him gone to bring in the player from Brentford. I can't remember who it was now.
Yeah.
I tell you what, right? With a player like that, if I'm totally honest with you, I'd rather run out his contract.
Yeah.
And have a shot at the big time.
That's what I said. I was like, he's worth 2 million in a season to then let go for free. Like the value that he brings to the team, you're not replacing him for 2 million. So like you're several league positions below when you let him go for 2 million. So like ultimately he's worth more than that. So like you either sell him for more or you keep him and let him go for free.
Yeah.
And hopefully you've had a good season and then he renews by the end because maybe you've got up or something.
Yeah.
And that obviously didn't happen, but it could have. I feel more comfortable with him there than not, saying that we had a chance of going up. Like, I just found that weird. And then all of a sudden, everyone loves him again now since he's played well under Martin. So I'd imagine if that happened this summer, it wouldn't be the same conversation. And it probably is going to come up again. Not the contract part, but the fact that maybe interest. I think the last thing I was going to ask about Russell Martin was who might go with him. So we'll have that conversation now. But yeah, so like I think people will be a little bit more frustrated if he gets sold cheap now.
Yeah. Who's he linked with? Grimes and Fulton, apparently. He wants to take with him.
Yeah. That would be disgusting if that happens.
I can't. I'm very like, I know Fulton sort of come back into the team under, but he was sort of discarded, wasn't he? Early on in the season. You know what I mean? Halfway through the season, he sort of was a bit back there.
I think he fell foul of the fact that we signed Flynn Downs, and because he got sent off in the playoff final, he missed the first few games of the season. Yeah. And that was it. Like, and then Russell Martin had his man in Downs, and he wasn't getting back in. And obviously, when Downs went, he was kind of forced to, like, I say forced, like Felton was there, and I guess you could say, actually, Felton can work for us, But like, just look at the again general opinions that you see on the internet of Felton in Martin's first season. He's done all these years where he's been fantastic for us. And then he has a couple of games where he comes off the bench or maybe he's looking a bit rusty. And all of a sudden, everyone wanted Felton to leave. But then he's come back in Martin's second year and he's an instrumental part of the midfield. So, like, how can you change that, like, your opinion so fast? Is unbelievable sometimes.
Yeah, I think he's a good championship player as well. I think he could get into any top 6 team. I think he's a top 6 player in the championship. But I think it'd be weird if he does take him, because then he's just signed a new contract, didn't he, Fulton? Was it in January he signed the new one?
Yeah, so he'd have to pay up for him, wouldn't he?
Yeah, we'd have to pay. Yeah.
I mean, they'd probably got the money, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, we'd hopefully get something good for both of them. I would hope none of them leave, because I can't see a world where we can replace them. I mean, the manager that we're going to speak about in a sec might have a completely different approach, which might mean replacing them isn't as hard because the style we're playing isn't as unique. Like, maybe something like you need to replace Grimes to do what Grimes does best. Maybe he doesn't need that, is what I'm saying. So, like, getting midfielders in is a different search than it would be under Martin.
Yeah, so you're looking for a player with different qualities.
Yeah.
I think we can't let Grimes go.
No, I
he just can't go. I know he does have like more. Well, the manager that we're probably going to talk about next has a lot more of a pragmatic approach to the way he plays football. He's not so much knocking around your own box. But yeah, I think I'm sure I was reading a stat somewhere where like they are, when they get into the final third things and that, they actually keep the ball on the floor quite a lot. You know what I mean? They sort of pump long to get out, if you know what I mean. But when it gets down to the, into the final third, they actually do quite play a lot of possession-based football. So I think
playing in the right areas, isn't it?
Yeah, playing in the right areas, which is I mean that's the basic in any football. You know what I mean? But I think you need Grimes for that. You know what I mean? Someone who can come in and pick a pass. Like I probably play him maybe a little bit further up the pitch. If I was the manager coming in question.
He did at times when Alan was in the team this season, didn't he? A little bit sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit sometimes. Yeah, but I think the only thing with Grimes is he under Martin he played his best stuff coming deep, and he picking off like a quarterback sort of role.
He also got the most assists he's ever got in a season.
Yeah,
last season.
So I think Grimes we can't let him go. Club captain, have a bit of bone in the back. Come on, keep him.
Also, club captain, and this is another conversation, but a lot of people criticise him for the way that he is captain and how he deals with that on the pitch. I think he's a good captain. I personally think he's quite laid back. He doesn't really get involved in anything bad, and he's not always the first person screaming at the ref or like running around shouting at the other players. But I think that's just not his style. And the way that he deals with it is to be calm and collected and try and make everyone else calm and collected, rather than like, you've made a mistake and I'm going to make you know about it, which is maybe an old-fashioned way. I'm not saying it doesn't work.
Yeah, but
I just feel it suits us the way that we play as well, like the more cool and calm.
I like what he does, because I think you're right. I think you can have captains that are loud and shout, but I think he kind of just says like, well, put it on my back and just like, I'll lead by example. Like
and then he'll go and get the ball, won't he?
He always wants the ball. He's always coming deep into hard positions to get the ball. And I think he's just got that like calm presence. And I think that's what he brings as a captain, especially when like Martin was asking him to play the way that they were playing. I think he was always sort of putting himself forward to get the ball when he in that role all the time. I think he was just kind of like follow my lead. And I agree with you boys. You can't let him go.
Well,
that's saying if you let like club captain go on the cheap, right?
But I think, like you said, leadership comes in different roles, doesn't it? I mean, you got, like you said, you got your screamers, but it depends what your team reacts to. If your team reacts to somebody getting in your face and shouting and screaming, then that's what we need as captain. But we don't know what he's doing on the training ground. We don't know what he does behind the scenes and things like that. We only see what he does 90 minutes on a Saturday. You know what I mean? It's hard for us to judge him as a captain because we don't play with him every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think people coming up and saying like, I don't know if he should be captain. I don't think they've got a valid point, because they don't know what it's like to work with that man, every day on a training ground and on Saturday.
I think ultimately we've had 3 managers since coming down from a championship now. And as much as he was an instrumental centre midfield starter when Potter first took over, he got himself into that position. And then Cooper made him captain and Martin kept him as captain. Like, it's a consistent thing that he's considered a vital part of the team since we've come down to the championship. And that's over several personnel, so I feel like there's obviously a lot more there than maybe what you see on the pitch. And if you like the old school, old fashioned way of doing it, then maybe that's what you prefer. But I think it's a lot more complex, and I think it's like any working environment these days. Management's changed, and it's management on the pitch at the end of the day, and that's the way he does it. I'm not saying he's perfect. He probably can improve in areas, but I also don't think he's bad at what he does there.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Okay, so Perot then, last one to talk about when we move on to the new manager potentially. But do we think he's going to follow him? Obviously, we expect him to lose Perot this summer. You mentioned he's been linked with going to Italy, but there's always that if Martin's somewhere, he knows about Perot and he's got money to spend, is he going to try and lure him away?
Oh, yeah, well, potentially, yeah. And it's from a manager who knows what the financial situation is at the club, and he's going to take a player that scores, what are we talking about, 20 goals a season?
Yeah.
You take him, don't you? Well, you attempt to take it. So I think Southampton Southampton, if they don't get Grimes, they'll come in for him. I think they'll go for Grimes first. I think he's more pivotal to what Southampton want to do than what Pirro is, because I think that
Martin would build the team around Grimes when he did years.
Yeah, so. Like Southampton have got good forwards, haven't they? So I think they need that player in midfield, like Grimes, to really kickstart that.
Yeah, you can kind of help him introduce his way of playing.
I think
with this kind of playing style, you always seem to see a player follow the manager to try and embed it, if you like.
Yeah.
Joe Allen followed Brendan, for example, to Liverpool. Can't think of any other examples off the top of my head. If you've got any, that
hang on a second.
Jason Scotland went to Wigan with Martinez.
Man. Laziest man in football. Score goal though. Score. But no, I think Grimes would, like going to Southampton. He epitomizes Martin's philosophy, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is the cornerstone in his philosophy. So I think the only way I think Pirro would ever go to Southampton possibly is if they don't get Grimes.
Yeah, they got Armstrong there as well.
And Shea Adams.
Shea Adams, they got, but are these lads going to get moves to bigger club? We don't know. Armstrong probably not. Shea Adams could play at a high level. Yeah, he can. Armstrong's probably around the championship level, isn't he? But
it depends if any of them go as well. If they need a striker, but I think you would though, wouldn't you? As a club coming down, you'd look at it and go, "Oh, he scored 20 goals in the last 2 seasons in the championship. We'll have him because we need 20 goals."
Yeah, we need 20 goals. We don't want them to score 20 goals.
I'd be worried if someone like Leicester coming in for him because,
oh yeah,
they're probably going to lose a lot of players. Leicester.
Well, Vardy's looking like he's coming towards the end, isn't he? He might have a good year in the championship, but yeah, it looks like they're probably gonna have to rebuild. So a player like Pirro, that's a good start.
Also, Andre Ayew followed eventually Steve Cooper, didn't he, to Forest? So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's another one. And Gibbs White.
No, yeah.
I used to love him. He was a great player for us.
Oh, he was class.
He would have been. He probably would have if he didn't get injured. I wonder what our season would have been.
Oh,
if Bruce had come earlier and all that sort of stuff.
The few things you've actually seen him do with the ball, you could tell he was a cut above the rest, and then he got injured.
Oh yeah,
and he got recalled. So it was a bit of a shame, really, that one.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what's next then. And there's no confirmation at time of recording, which is in the evening of the 22nd, Thursday. The only confirmation tonight is one that's completely different and quite saddening, but we're not going to go into that. So Michael Duff, Barnsley's manager, currently is by all accounts set to join Swansea on a 3-year deal. So like I said, no confirmations. Something could happen. They could hit a snag, who knows? But like I said earlier from a statement, it seems like they are confident that they've got someone in line, and maybe we'll see tomorrow. So by this is out, it might be confirmed. So he's 45. He's been at Barnsley. He obviously got into the playoff final last year. Before Barnsley, he took Cheltenham from League 2 as champions. They got promoted, and then they had their highest ever league finish. So he's got a decent CV over the last couple of years. Tends to play a 3-5-2 style. So it's not something that we haven't used over the last few seasons, on or off. So the players here could probably fit into it. But then he's also more pragmatic, like you said earlier a couple of times, Nicky. And maybe, I'm not saying he's exactly the same, but you probably see more of Steve Cooper than you're going to see of Russell Martin in his playing style. Maybe at the top end of the pitch, you see a mixture. But then having said that, Cooper could get him playing passing football when he wanted to. It's just first and foremost, we were hard to beat. That was the priority. And that seems to be the way that Michael Duff likes to set his teams up.
Yeah, I think it was different because I think, like we said before, Cooper came in and he was like, right, what have I got? And I'll make a system that works with the players that I've got.
Yeah.
And then Martin was completely different. He was like, I'm going to play this system, whether the players fit in it or not.
But that was kind of probably led by fans as well. Everyone was very adamant that they wanted to go back to the Swansea way.
I think it was. But this was my debate. It was probably a wider thing. I just think that style of football is kind of finished.
It's
finished, but
it's fizzling.
It's been done. Like we were playing that football 10 years ago.
It goes round in periods, doesn't it? It'll come back probably.
It does, yeah, because people are ahead of the curve and start playing a different way. All teams sort of start to follow, and then all of a sudden teams figure out how to win that way.
Another example is Sheffield United under Wilder, and then they went they had a really nuts season, didn't they, in the Premier League? And a Wilder can't keep a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't keep a job. You can't get anyone going at the moment. So that's been worked out or copied or whatever. It just progresses all the time, doesn't it? And I think you mentioned Pep earlier, and I know that's the extreme. but he does adjust all the time to what he's doing.
That's a
And
sign
he's
of
not,
good.
yeah, and he's not
Yeah,
afraid
I
to drop players
I
either.
remember when the 5 at the back was like the thing to do, wasn't it? Or the 3 with the wing backs. And then I remember they played Chelsea away. I think when Chelsea were like, really on form, and Chelsea were playing the 5 at the back, and he played a 4 at the back and brought the full backs inside the wing backs, and they blew them apart. And then since then, you've slowly seen the 5 at the back kind of disappear again.
Yeah,
and you're starting to see more of like a 4-3-3.
Yeah.
But that's why, like obviously before we started recording, when we talked about Pep Guardiola, like Martin, like you said, Luke, you said it was very much one way, wasn't it? There was no plan B. If this is going to work, and we go into make it, try and make it work anyway. But like even when I watch Pep Guardiola, I've to be fair, Man City play some fantastic football, as we all know. But well, you don't win a treble by not playing good football. You know what I mean? And getting results. But even they go long. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to know when to play in the right areas. I'm all for playing football in the right areas, but you cannot be playing, between you go playing inside the box. When you're a small child and you go and you learn how to play football, they tell you don't play across your box. You know what I mean? You do not play across your box, because you ask how many goals we conceded by doing that this season.
Well, both seasons.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you've got to, like, Duff is going to come in now. I think he's going to look at what he's got and go, right, what can you give me to add to this? What tools can you give me? Because obviously he's going to go in there with players in mind that he's going to want to bring in. And I'm guessing that he's got some sort of assurances from the...
As they always do.
Well, yeah, as they always do. They don't always deliver on them, but some sort of assurances from the hierarchy. But I think he will... I tell you what, I'm actually looking forward to seeing him come in. If he is the man that comes in, I am looking forward to seeing him come in.
Yeah, I think it's important to say, though, when you mentioned the assurances, right? I had this conversation with someone who worked the other day, because I'm not here to defend the owners, right? They have done bad, like, they're not amazing all the time. They're not. I know that. But people say about Martin and the backing, and I guess it comes back to like the way that he put out there, I wasn't backed and all this. He was backed. He just had one transfer window where he wasn't. It's a different. January was a bad window where he wasn't backed, right? The rest of them were. He was his first window. He brought in like 10 players or something. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't needed, but like you can't also say he didn't get. Most of them players were people that he wanted as well. Like Patterson, he basically straight away. Exactly. He like, I want Patterson. He's free. You had Darlin, you had Fisher. Like, they were people that we got because he wanted them, and we spent decent money on like Fisher and Darlin. A good wage, a good whack of our fee. So January was poor. We know January was poor, but for his duration here, I don't agree with him not being backed, personally.
Yeah, I think you're right. I always said this, didn't we? I think, but even when he came in and his first press conference and all that was all like, I understand the financial possession of the club. We like the challenge. We might have to use younger players. We understand that. And everyone says, oh, he's not back. He's not back. He's not back. He spent a lot of money. Like you said about Darlin, he spent $2 million on Darlin. He wanted him. That was probably our entire transfer pot for last season, because I think that was the 10th highest spending in the Championship, was $2 million. If you look across the boards, Championship clubs can't spend that much money, so
they won't spend it.
We were quite far up the list actually for spend last season, even though we didn't spend in January. We were still a decent way up the list.
But then, when you look at, like, obviously your Burnleys and your Sheffield Uniteds at the top, when they got the parachute payments, fair enough, they spend and they go back up. But underneath that, I can't see us. Did we spend a lot more money or a lot less than teams like Luton and Coventry who got into the...
Yeah. I go back to his first season. You had Perot, Obafemi and Downs. I know Perot was slightly before he came, but like they were still brought in that window. Like,
paid good money for Obafemi.
And Downs was over $1 million.
And Downs.
Yeah. Like, it's not like they haven't actually, they have been spending lately. It's because you see someone like Downs went for 12 million and you don't put the 12 million back into the players. They're never going to do that. Accept it.
Yeah.
Some of that money has to go to run the club.
Of course it does. You're right. Yeah. But I think a lot of fans, where they get involved, they're not going to go, well, we sold them 12. We want to see 12. I think what a lot of the fans' frustration probably is that we want to see a chunk of it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I do agree with that.
But it's like 5 million. 5 million.
I think it's easy to get caught up on the, like, there was no backing, but he got more backing than I think maybe
I think
Cooper
probably
had
Cooper. Yeah, I agree. Probably they got
in
more
his
back
second
in
season.
the season.
Yeah. The I think I think as well, I understand like the January one. I think because we lost these players, like I think Obafemi went and some others, and they didn't actually bring in anyone to like replace them.
Yeah, that's why
I think that was the worst. I think
Yeah,
that
and
was
that's a
why the
different
January
conversation,
window.
though, isn't it? That's like that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
bad decision making.
But what else? Like, and a lot. You forget about Martin, right? You say like about the back, and you're right. Yeah, I think we did back him a bit. I know January was a farce, to be fair.
Yeah,
but a lot. There's quite a few of his players who I know it does happen in football. And not every signing is going to be a great signing, but who didn't hit the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and do as a man, as a hierarchy, do you go? We're going to entrust this man with more money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
so
what I
maybe that's why they were stuttering over some of the deals. Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, you had Better was.
Someone said this to me the other day. I can't remember who it was, and I thought, yeah, do you know what? It's not a bad point. Like, were they? This is all speculation, but were they dragging their heels about
they stole them in the contract
in January and potentially in the summer?
Yeah.
With Russell Martin after what he brought in and what he'd shown, were they maybe a bit like, oh, you know,
most of the loans were a bit poor. Better haven't had a kick. Fisher isn't exactly in people's good books, is he? Darling, for the fee we paid for him, I don't think has lived up to expectations. So yeah, I mean, bringing back Allen, even like it's a nostalgic signing.
Yeah,
but was it the best use of the money?
It was to appease fans.
Yeah, but was that the best use of the money? I'm not sure. That was a position that we needed to really invest in over something like wing back, especially when you see the emergence and unfortunate injury, but the emergence afterwards of Liam Walsh coming in and doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't need to have Alan really. Like, I'm glad he's here. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of like prioritizing your funds, I don't think it was the best decision.
Yeah, and I think I can't remember what I was going to say now because I think you're right about Alan. I think if he's fit, he's quality, but you're not going to get many. I don't think you're going to get any 90-minute games out of him now at this stage of his career.
No, I think he's on
his injury record. But yeah, I don't know. You know, he wanted those players like Darling and Fisher were supposed to.
And Cham, another one.
Yeah, for him to play his football, and I remember they were moaning about because Bender got injured, didn't he? And everyone was moaning then. We could have at least signed a goalkeeper. I was like, well, Bender was starting. He was already here when Martin came in. He brought in Fisher to be ahead of him. And then he's saying, Bender's injured now. I've only got Fisher. I can understand the owners being like, hang on, you asked us for $500,000 like 12 months ago to bring in this goalkeeper who's $500,000. Now you want another one because he's not good enough.
Yeah. Fisher, I'm not gonna lie to you boys, I'm happy to see Bender back in the net. At the beginning of the season, I'm not gonna. Fisher has saved us a couple of times, but
he got better towards the end of the season, didn't he? When we were starting playing well.
He has saved us a few times. I'm not gonna. I do all right. I don't want to be that person. I'm not gonna slag that off. But he has saved us a few times and that. But you feel like Bender's the more accomplished goalkeeper. I
think Fisher's a confidence player, and maybe a confidence player is not the best thing to be when you're a goalkeeper. I think that's a nice way of putting it.
100%. It's a bit different when you're a centre forward, but
yeah.
9 times out of 10.
I think that's the nicest way to put how his season went.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, we got a bit distracted, but Michael Duff is apparently going to come in, and he actually had a lot of experience at Barnsley when he joined them of players leaving and having to deal with that, which could be something that he has to deal with if some of these players follow Russell Martin out the door. And the back end, he's had the assurances probably and all this stuff. So I don't know if you know much about Barnsley squad. Do you think there's anyone that you could drag along with him?
Who's the centre half? I can't remember. Something Anderson. Isn't he supposed to be off to Luton? It's a good, solid player. Centre half.
Premier League, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So you know what I mean. I know he's obviously linked with the Premier League side, but you know what I mean. Could Michael Duff not have a little? But it depends how much he's off for, I suppose, doesn't it? But you know what I mean.
Mads Jewel Anderson.
Yeah. He looks a bit of a player. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Is that, well, to be fair, centre off is somewhere probably where we need to improve a bit. But
yeah, I mean, in a different type of system though, maybe not. Maybe centre back isn't a priority if he's being more pragmatic.
I suppose, yeah, fair enough. Because I think personally, it's for me personally, I don't know about you lads. for me, like Cabango never suited Martin's system because he's not. Well, I like to say, I know it's obvious that he is a footballer, but he's not a footballer. If you know what I mean, he's not a footballer.
And he was very
he's a
good.
defender.
He's very good under Cooper.
Yeah, so
yeah, he was. Yeah,
he's one of them. If the ball's coming in, you want him in there, but you don't want him trying to play 20, 30-yard passes.
No,
you know what I mean?
Going on a run.
Yeah, he's not that type of player. He hasn't got that in his locker, and I think he probably, if somebody asked him that question, he'd probably agree. But you know what I mean? He's a defender. He's like one of them old school defenders who puts his body on the line and something like that. That's what you need. Sometimes you need the one that can play the nice football, like a Darling who can pick a pass, and then you need like Vidic and Ferdinand. Vidic,
I think.
you know what I mean?
I think you're right though. I think like Nicky said, I'm quite excited to see what he can do because I think in the Championship now, especially, you've got to be hard to beat, and we weren't under Martin.
Yeah, we weren't.
We conceded too many. The number of goals we conceded, I think we conceded like 60 odd goals last season. I think we were well up there for the most goals conceded.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we scored about 60 odds. So I think we had a +2 or whatever it was goal difference in the end.
Yeah.
But I was looking at Barnsley. They scored 80 odd goals last year. I know it's a division below. But you know, if you can train a team to score 80 goals, and you know they missed out in extra time in the playoffs when they played with 10 men, so they weren't far off getting promoted really against a good Sheffield Wednesday side.
I think it's I'm actually it's a bit of an exciting appointment. Eh? I know people say, "Oh, you're getting a bit mad about Michael Duff." Like it's not like Jose Mourinho or something, but it's like I think he's going to bring a bit of hunger.
It's different, isn't it?
You tend to pick these managers out though that do a good job, like from these teams that maybe a little bit under the radar, and they do a decent job. You could even say Martin fits that. Like
I like the way we've brought in managers in the past, like bringing in, you know, I'd be devastated if we were one of those clubs that just recycled all the same managers that do the circles all the time, you know, the same names across. I like that we give these managers a chance. Like, why not give them a chance? Got promoted with Cheltenham, like we said. Barnsley played well, nearly got promoted last year. Give him a crack. So it might come crashing and burning now. We'd be sat here in December going like, what did we appoint? Like, but you know, and I don't want to be too positive as well because this will come back and bite me in the ass. But it's like when we had like Paulo Sousa was really defensive, which would be like Cooper, and then you had Russell Martin, who was not as good as Martinez, obviously, but like Martinez was very attack based, and then you have someone come in who's kind of in the middle,
yeah. But we need,
and that's what we need, isn't it? So you know, without getting too excited, but obviously we're getting promoted next year.
Yeah. So the one that I picked out was maybe a midfielder who, if Grimes and Felton are the interest of Martin, maybe that's a position we are going to need to look at. Karam Styles, who is being linked with Watford at the moment. Apparently they're making a bid for him. So if the manager comes here and he's one of the key midfielders in his team, wondering if that's somebody we can have a look at. Fits the sort of age demographic that our owners like to sign, you know, potential, sell on value and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like that maybe that's one they could have a look at if he does come in.
I take that. I've got myself excited now thinking about that because if we're hard to beat, if that's what he's going to bring, if we're hard to beat, we're going to get wins.
Yeah.
It might not be pretty all the time, but like we said earlier, I didn't mind Cooper at all because we were winning.
Results based.
It'd be interesting to see though who's going to score them goals if Perot leaves.
Oh, I don't know.
That's another one. That's another big job for him. One of the first things.
Well, he's
Perot is set to go. That's. There's got to be someone coming in. I mean, you've got Kyle Joseph coming back from loan, and you'll have Liam Cullen.
I think did he take Kyle Joseph on loan to Cheltenham at one point?
Maybe.
I don't know.
No, that's
crossover.
I can't remember. But he did go to Cheltenham for a bit, didn't he? And then
was he not? Where was he last year?
I'll have a look now. So Kyle Joseph played at Cheltenham in 21-22.
He was at Cheltenham. Yeah, he was at Cheltenham, wasn't he?
And Michael Duff was at Cheltenham in the same year, wasn't he? So Cheltenham, yeah, he would have been the manager when Kyle Joseph was there. So maybe Kyle Joseph does get a look in. I mean, I don't know how good he did when he was at Cheltenham. 19 appearances, 4 goals. But he's young, isn't he? Like, he's only 21 now, so that would have been 19.
I came down a flimsily. No, youngster. But, you know, like sometimes it's nice to see what these youngsters can do. Like, for me, like Liam Cullen, I think, I don't know whether he punched above his weight a bit last year. for the goals. Like I don't know, he's a decent player, Liam Callum. I don't think he's just. I don't think he's.
I don't know if he can lead the line yet. He's good
No.
to have there as a
Yeah.
bit of. He's a workhorse you can chuck on when you're like, right, I just need to run and go and try and
Yes.
score.
He'll get you a few goals, but I just don't think he's what he classes as an out-and-out goal scorer, like a Pirro, like a predator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that sort of like the play between the 18. Well, I know like Pirro drops and that, but he shouldn't. But if I think he would have scored more goals, Pirro, if he just played between the 18-yard box. You know what I mean? But I don't think Cullen's got that predator instinct.
I think he's got a finishing accuracy there from how many of Pirro's goals came from outside the box?
Oh yeah,
especially
exactly.
in the first season.
Quality operator, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows where the net is.
So that'll be difficult anyway. Perhaps we'll probably talk more about Michael Duff when it actually gets confirmed going forward, and maybe over the next week or two, a little bit more will come out about the state of the squad and what we actually need to do to acknowledge any gaps and who's going to leave. Like, is Manning, like, has he gone officially? I know he wasn't on the retained list, but like, he hasn't been picked up by someone. So is there still opportunity there? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, but that's another one I could follow with Russell. So, but wing back is an issue. But Kyle Norton did sign a new contract, though.
Yeah,
actually,
interesting.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I will say anyway. He had to take a 60% pay cut to stay on.
Did he?
So,
Jesus.
I mean,
I think
in trouble.
But there's one of them things in the I think they know that he's not going to get a lot of game time. So
and I think he knew that as well. But it was a little bit. It just didn't add up what was being said. Martin was saying, the club wasn't offering him. No, Martin was saying that Kyle was turning down a deal, and my sources were saying he wasn't offered one. So.
Interesting.
Another one, but then maybe Martin is one of. Like, we've spoken about some of the stuff he was saying in the media earlier, and whether he's just suiting his own agenda.
That's a weird one, isn't it? Because by all accounts, we were expecting Norton to go, and he was waving off at the end of the season in the lap of honour, and then as soon as the Martin Southampton thing popped up in the news, he signed a new contract.
So again,
he didn't get along.
My sources say after that broke, there was a text. And that's what it took.
No, so he's just happy to stay in. So maybe there was
because he was on holiday. It was a text, and then he come back and sorted it out. Basically,
maybe there was some sort of issue between Norton and Martin, or you know what I mean? Well, maybe Martin.
I think Martin was just like ready. He didn't want to go and didn't want to say it out loud. You know.
Yeah, he didn't. Maybe he didn't want them, or maybe something deeper than that. We don't know.
But it's weird because he was so instrumental. I mean, it's kind of like what happened to Ryan Bennett, really.
Especially that first season under Martin when he played like Norton in the middle of the back three.
Well, he did up until Christmas.
And he was brilliant in that middle of that. Especially when we played like Cardiff away and stuff. He was brilliant.
Because he's so good on the ball as well, isn't he? You know what I mean?
He's good.
Calm and, you know what I mean? He can pick up, like we've talked about centre-halves being able to pick a pass out. I know he's not your typical centre. I know he played full-back for most of his career. But, you know what I mean? You know, he's a calm head, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still think he's a good player to have in the squad in the championship.
I would be comfortable if we are like if you brought him on. I would be comfortable with that. You know what I mean? I'm good. Like we're winning a game. I know he's not the biggest lad in the box and that, but I'd be comfortable knowing he's coming on because he's so calm and he knows when to pick a pass and when to just go. You're like, get away, lads. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's interesting anyway. But I guess it's another example of we don't actually know what goes on behind the scenes and how quick things can change when the dynamics of the structure of the club change. Because he was out the door by all accounts, and he knew that. That's why he did that wave. Obviously, I know someone that knows him basically, so that's why I'm few little bits and bobs, but I also can't talk in full detail. But I give what I can away. But that's what he doesn't give a lot of it. He's no one to talk like.
Wait until Kyle Norton watches this.
I have tried asking if you can get him on, but he's not the sort that talks. So. I was like, if he's leaving, get him on, because he won't come on while he's there, and then he's not leaving anymore. So
that's that.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next.
We'll find out what happened.
Yeah, this time next year.
Okay, so let's quickly move on to the fixtures. I know we've been an hour, so we want to quickly touch on this and the kit, and then we'll head it off. Fixtures announced today. I actually didn't realize the cup was today as well. We got drawn the League Cup. whatever it's called these days. Is it Carabao still?
Yeah.
So we've got the fixture list. I've got the fixture list up on the screen if you are watching on YouTube. If you're not, if you're on Spotify, we'll read out. So I'm not going to read all of them. Some key ones. So the ones I picked up, and you can chip in with any that you're looking forward to if you want. First game, obviously, is what everyone's looking for. So the season starts on the 5th of August. I mean, all games are subject to change when TV gets involved. But first game starts 5th of August, Birmingham at home. How are we feeling about that? I think it's a nice start.
Yeah, nice start. You know, I mean, but it didn't have too clever of a season last year. No, they
got a manager that we wanted.
Yeah, they got a manager we wanted. I think that's a good fixture. They've lost a couple of players as well, haven't they? Obviously, like the highly rated Joe Bellingham has gone to Sunderland as well, and so he's left them. But
going to be at Real Madrid in 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know about that. There's never two good versions, is there? When you got brothers, there's always one. It's like Phil and Gary Neville. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always one worse brother than the other, isn't it? So I think Birmingham's a good fixture for start on. Yeah? I think we should be looking at that, attacking that game. And
and at home as well to introduce the new manager. And it's always nice to start at home, and it's get a nice win on the board.
It's a chance to get a good start, isn't it? Chance to get 3 points on the board early, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
First away game, which is also our second game, which I might be interested in having a look at, Lee or Nikki, whoever wants to, if we can have a look at it, maybe.
West Bromwich Albion.
West Bromwich Albion, yeah. So West Brom away.
Oh,
we always.
I tell you,
I mean, look, we love going there and having a good curry.
But
in the pub.
I just opened my phone and Duff has been confirmed.
Oh,
there we are. You've got a live scoop. I'll have to get us out tonight now. No pressure.
I tell you what.
Said you have named Barnsley's Michael Duff as the new head coach.
God, what time is it? 9:30.
Yeah,
this is not like it's transfer deadline day, for God's sake. Just wait till the morning.
30 minutes ago that it was released on BBC Sport, that is. So I don't know if the club
that's so we can start preparing.
Let me just halt
let's start all over
fixture.
Again.
Let's 1 second while I edit this. I will get the more up-to-date news on the screen. So if you two want to talk amongst yourselves.
There he is, holding the shirt as well, official.
I need to see that.
There we are, everyone.
Some boy.
So we'll go back to the fixtures in a second, but here we go, new manager. So everything we said earlier now is relevant. We'll look at the kits in a minute, but
I think I actually genuinely want to talk about that kit as well, because
I got the kits on another tab ready to go in detail on, right? So we'll get there. So let me just go through this. So Swansea City is delighted to confirm the appointment of Michael Duff as the club's new head coach. The 45-year-old Northern Irishman has put pen to paper on a 3-year deal at the Swansea.com stadium after compensation was agreed with Barnsley, and he will oversee the first day of pre-season training on Friday.
Good. Glad.
He becomes the 4th Northern Irish to manage Swansea, following the footsteps of Billy. I can't say that.
Billy
McCandless. Yeah, I just looked at it. I wasn't expecting it. Harry Gregg and Brendan Rodgers, of course.
Can I say, though, remember when I said about like Sousa and Martinez and then Brendan Rodgers come in, who's Northern Irish?
Yeah, he's following in the footsteps, So Michael has a proven track record of galvanizing a group of players into a collective unit, and he has consistently outperformed expectations of previous clubs. That's interesting. What are they trying to say? Galvanizing a group of players. What are they trying to say? They're not all on board. Like, that's a bit of a weird.
I think you just I
don't know whether it's just saying just to bring them together more as a unit. Like,
I mean,
it's another transition.
I feel like it's Andy Coleman having had the best way with words since he's come in. That first statement he put out after that, the rules of winter leaving was awful, and then it went.
He's not the best linguist, is he?
No. Every conversation I've had with him only reinforced the view that he is exactly the type of leader we need here at Swansea City. He's a proven winner both as a player and a manager, and I'm confident he will bring that mentality here. I believe in his ability and his belief in the Swansea way. He's still going on about that. While he also possesses the capability to adapt within the games and drive results. This is a results-driven business. Not sure he was saying that in February and March. Our position in the table. It matters to all of us, and we are focused on supporting Michael with everything he needs to succeed. I'm not going to read all of it. I just want to see if there's anything interesting.
I quite like that when he said, I believe in its results. I think that's so. I know I mentioned the Swansea way a bit before, but I think it's sort of saying we're going to try and win at all costs here. It's not going to be the Swansea way. We're going to win to win.
Yeah.
We'll play to win. It's not going to be tippy tapper. If it works out that way for the best way, we'll play that way. If not, we're just going to try and win.
And I think it's worth noting that Andy obviously wasn't here when Martin went through that bad period as well. So maybe I've got a different way of approaching.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
things.
maybe. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. It's his first season. So anyway, back to the fixture. We've done the deep dive on Michael Duff. We just confirmed he is now Swansea manager. So I'll try and get in touch with them Barnsley lads and see if they can give us an insight. Maybe they can get on next week or something. Anyway, fixtures. So West Brom, be nice to go to the pub that does a good curry again, Lee. That's always a good away day.
It's the highlight of the year, that is, the curry house in West Brom.
West Brom.
It's very, I can't remember what it's called now, but highly recommend.
It's class.
I like how the first 3 fixtures there are all in the Midlands, not that far to travel.
Yeah, I was thinking that earlier. It's a nice.
Well, I mean, they're coming to us, and they 2 of them, but
Yeah. So sorry, but like I mean, it's all sort of nicely banded there, isn't it?
yeah, that's true. So the last game of the season where we end, so maybe where our hopes or fears hang in the balance. Millwall at home on the 4th
we'll be up by then.
of May. Home games to start and end the season. That's quite nice.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah. That's a weird one. Normally, you do have an away one, either one.
And we're never home on the first day. Rarely, I find we're never home on the first day.
I can't remember the last time he was. I'm trying to think. The last time he was home. I was home.
No, last two seasons we were away.
Potter was away.
We were away to Preston in Cooper's first year. Cooper's second year, sorry. Cooper's first year, I can't remember. What would have been Cooper's first game? I can't remember. Potter was away at Sheffield United.
Yeah, I was there that game.
So yeah, so literally, unless Cooper's first.
We had like Man United at home once, didn't we? Maybe.
Huh?
No, Man United away. We had Man United one time in the Premier League. I can't remember. Was it when Key scored? Was that away? Maybe.
That was away. We did have him home first game one year as well. I think it was
that when Boney scored and we lost like 4-1.
Yeah. Was it when Ibrahimovic scored? Was that the year? Was it
I don't know. I can't remember.
Basically, since we've come down, unless Cooper's first year, it's bugging me now. We've been away every first game apart from this one.
Yeah. So, okay, last game, 4th of May. Boxing Day. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's class.
If still there.
Yeah.
Southampton away on the 26th of December.
It'd be long gone before then, Luke. I tell you what now, boy.
If Russell's having a good time at Southampton, we might be going down to see him on Boxing Day.
Down on the south coast, so we'll put 5 in them.
So that's one for the diaries. New Year's Day, West Brom at home.
It's a good one.
So we're home for New Year's. I mean, usually one of the there'll be TV around then.
It's Coventry away as well.
By the time it comes around. What's that?
Is it Coventry away we got between Christmas and New Year as well? That's pretty good.
They keep it close, don't they? They try to.
I'm surprised Southampton's on Boxing Day. They normally tried a bit closer than that. Yeah, you would have thought maybe
Does that count as one of the closest travelling ones though, compared to some of them?
We normally get a London trip on Boxing Day. We get like a Watford or
how much further Southampton and London?
How far is the travel from Southampton? I don't know, about 3 hours, 3.5 hours maybe. I don't know.
I'm sure we had to Southampton before, didn't we? I can't remember.
Is it further than Brighton? Because that was actually a trek on the way home.
Oh, Brighton was horrendous.
No, I don't think it's as far as Brighton.
Yeah. Well, we'll carry on. So Cardiff away is early on the 16th of September and home match is on the 16th of March. If we get put on TV, maybe not. We'll see.
Strange, guys, because the last couple of seasons as well, it's been
October,
like away first, isn't it? It's been home first, sorry.
Yeah, and it's been in October, like pretty much the same dates. It's interesting. I picked 3 games out that I'm just interested in. I think a lot of people think Leeds is a big one. So I've got Leeds away. It's the 29th of November. I know they're back down here and that's always a bit feisty. Cardiff got them on the first game.
Yeah, that's carnage, guys.
I know.
That's going to be on TV.
As a great time.
And then I've picked 2 that I would like to, one that I'd like to go to, which is Plymouth away. I feel like that'd be a nice one to go down to.
Plymouth.
That's 7th of October. And Southampton at home is the 20th of January. some Russell Martin returns potentially on the 20th of January. Any highlights for you guys?
Well, I got 2 home games in November and December. Sunderland and Middlesbrough. I think so. No, it was the next year. Sorry, April and I got 2 home games. So I'm laughing.
February and April, I think, isn't it?
February and April, I got 2 home games.
Do you sit in the away end when you go there, or do you sit in the home end?
No, of course they sit in the away end, man.
We'd be up there for one of them. Oh, both.
It's actually worked out really well for me because obviously I work shifts, so quite a lot of these big games I'm actually off for. And I was talking to you before, Lee, and I'm obviously living in the northeast. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit of a commute for me to get to games these days. Yeah. So, but I'm going to make more of an effort this year to try and get to quite a few more away games. So, and quite a few of these games that are on here, these big games, I'm actually off for. So I'll be at like Leeds, I think Leicester, Middlesbrough,
Sheffield
Sunderland.
Wednesday, maybe.
Sheffield Wednesday, I can get them off for that one. So I can get to quite a few of the, few of the big ones. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I'm down on Boxing Day, so I'm home for Christmas. So I'll be going to Southampton. So
I think having Southampton on Boxing Day is one for me. But I like just a couple of like cheeky ones. I think like Sheffield Wednesday away on Good Friday, Bank Holiday weekend, Easter. That's a good trip.
That's a great day.
Good Friday.
Sheffield's a good city as well.
That's a good trip because you can double that up, right? You can go watch the football and then go to Alton Towers on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's a good one for Easter weekend.
Sheffield's a good day. Sheffield, it's all right on the drink as well. It's a good day. It's good. It's all right. It's not bad.
Yeah. Let's move on to the kits then, because we've been going a while. So home kit, got Harry Darling modelling for us here. First impressions.
He's pointing at you, Nick.
He is pointing right at me. I don't like it.
You don't like the kit? You don't like him, or?
No, I don't like the kit. I just think it's I don't know. I don't know whether maybe if I see it in person it will grow on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it does.
When it launched, I didn't like it, and I feel like it have grown on me. I do like the orange sponsor logo. I do like it. I feel like, and it's not betting as well, which is always positive. And the central badge is quite nice as well. Also, have you heard about the whole Reviva coffee? Like, I've never heard of them, but apparently they are owned by Gulf Oil.
Yeah, so we'll have all the protesters on the pitch.
Basically, Gulf Oil are sponsoring us.
Yeah, Gulf. Yeah, so obviously Gulf. It's sort of a bit of a throwback, isn't it? I feel like it probably may grow on me, but I think right now I'm not that fussed on it. If I'm being totally honest.
The kits always tend to grow on me when they first come out. I'm never like, I really like them.
Yeah.
But the black kit last year grew on me, and then when I saw it in person, I was like, I think it's lovely. So I think like you've got to see him in person now. But that home kit there, I don't know. It looks like a local team's kit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like, I don't know.
How do you get out of this? I don't even know.
Like Sunday.
I do like the central badge though. I like that. I wanted a central badge, but I'm also
I can't get off
they went back to this badge as well.
All the rest of them are on here. Give me a second, and I will find it. Apparently,
it's just because you love this one so much, Luke.
I know.
You want to go off it?
Apparently so.
I do all right. I'm actually quite relieved with this kit that when I first seen the Reviva coffee sponsor, it was kind of blocked in orange. And I was like, please, Lord, do not block that on the kit because that would look absolutely awful.
Yeah, like, when they announced the partnership,
Yeah. So I'm quite glad that it's not like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's go across. We've got the away kit with Joe Allen modelling here. What are our thoughts on the away kit then?
I think it's quite nice actually.
Yeah, I like the away kit.
I can't grasp the colour. I need to see it in person.
It's like a greeny sort of.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Like a teal.
Yeah.
I do like it though, and the gold trim.
Do you not think it's quite similar?
I do like the away kit. But there's gonna be a third kit, isn't there? I don't know when now.
Well, they've been teasing it, haven't they? They teased it in the video. It was in the background,
like it was blurry. And white stripes.
Yeah, it looked funky colours. Like,
yeah, I like it. Yeah,
we'll see.
I like it. I like a kit that's out there.
We should work out with the fixture list which game is going to be like used at first. So like it would be a game that somebody is like blue and white.
West
Brom.
Yeah.
West Brom away. There we are. West Brom away. Third kit announcement that week.
and
Yes.
it'll be like green.
I actually quite like that kit. It's quite nice. It's quite nice.
Yeah, that kit is nice. I do like that one.
I do all right as well, but which I obviously have been reading online. I know you lads will be keeping in touch with that. Is this whole palaver with the badge? Oh my word!
It's just gone back to the because of the writing underneath. Is
all
it?
right? I to be fair, I actually quite like the old badge, but I like that badge as well. But some people are just absolutely ridiculous about this badge. They're going way over the top about it. It's like, I'm not going to renew my season ticket because of a badge.
I just thought, like, the thing is, right, the way the badges we had last couple of years, the first year they did it, I thought, like, it's a one-off thing, in it, and then they did it again. And now they're going back to, like, this is the badge that we have at the moment. The last two were just, they're trying to make money in there, I guess, or, like, try something funky, and there was never a replacement permanently, and I think that was quite clear.
Personally, I do prefer the other badge than this one that we had like last year, but like I do like this badge as well. Like
this badge, I think is
doesn't keep me up at night.
Like it doesn't keep up. I think like with the badge, that one's quite sleek and it's quite like modern. And obviously, this is the badge that we've grown up with, isn't it?
This badge, though, right? The badge you've got there on your kit, Nicky. You know, the one we had last year for people who were not watching, on the away kit would not fit. This badge fits better on the away kit because you can colour it the colour that matches the trim. You wouldn't be able to do that with the badge from last year, I don't think. I don't think it would look as good. The only thing I would tweak about it is I don't necessarily think it needs to have the Swansea City AFC underneath. I think it would look sleeker if it just was the Swan.
Yeah, I think a lot of people brought that up, actually, fun enough you say that.
That's the only thing that I would say. On the shorts, like, maybe you could keep it, I don't know, but like, it's a minor thing, but that's what I would say. It would just be better without the writing. But
I wonder if you've got to have writing on it. I'm trying to think of other clubs if they haven't. I think you might have to have it on it,
even if it's like initials. I think like Man United and they have like MUFC or something.
Well, no, it's in their badge, isn't it?
Badge is Manchester United, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh well, no, like Fulham, I can think of. Or do they have like Fulham underneath it? I don't know.
Bournemouth? I don't know. It's the head thing. No, but it says on the top, doesn't it? I don't know. I've got
all the championship badges in front of me for the fixture thing on the Swans website, and Norwich doesn't have any words.
No,
all of the other ones.
Hang on. I think you are right, though. I think without the writing underneath, I think that would look even better.
Huddersfield don't. Oh no, they do. They do. I lied. I think Norwich. Not on the one they've got on here anyway, unless they got writing above or below it, which isn't included in the diagram they got on this graphic. But all of the other ones do, and Rotherham and Leeds have just got their initials, so maybe you have to have something.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I like that kit anyway. Like you said, I like to see what it looks like in person. I like to see what kind of colour. Like you said, it's like a greeny teal, isn't it? It's like it looks nice. Nice.
Yeah, I like it. What I would say is people give Jordan a lot of stick for their kits, and even if you're not keen on the first team, the home kit, they're unique. Like I know when we were with Adidas, you just had the same kit as another team, just with a different color.
Yeah, very standardized.
But like Jomas are always different. Like I haven't seen another kit with that sort of sleeve design that we have on the home kit. Really,
the only thing I don't like about Joma is the fact that it doesn't flatter people like me. Because you have to buy like 3 sizes.
Yeah, the sizing is a problem. Half of my kits don't fit me. Like ones I've got from over the years, most of them don't fit me. I don't know if they shrink in the wash as well.
It's because they're like, obviously, Joma are a Spanish company, isn't it? So like, people in Spain are not like us. There will be some, but like we drink a lot more beer.
Sangria is not as bad for you.
No, exactly. Yeah, lager puts on the calories.
Yeah. So is the goalkeeper kit here? Let's have a look. So we got home goalkeeper kit is the orange of the coffee with the white logo instead. I do like that reverse.
Nice kit, that would.
I read something. I was reading, funny enough, when these come out, and when they put the post on Facebook announcing the kit, and the comment made me laugh. I was like, "What are you on about?" And somebody wrote the kit. I don't like the goalkeeper kit. It needs to be more like sort of like it needs to stand out more. I went, stand out less.
It's like our orange away kit from the first season in the Prem.
Yeah, like basically he's in high vis. You can't stand out anymore, can you? You know what I mean? It's an orange kit. What do you want from that?
I thought, right, when they announced the Reviva coffee, the home kit was going to be white with orange Reviva, and then the away kit was going to be the opposite. But then they announced, obviously, it was two different sponsors again. So I thought this was going to be what the away kit would have been, basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that as a third kit, though. I think that orange kit is quite nice. It's like an old Holland kit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. I like it. I like that top. Yeah, I like the top.
Let's have a look. We got on the away kit. Looks like the away goalkeeper kit looks like one of our away kits from the last.
That's quite nice as well. The black and gold is nice, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's a bit. It's a bit that one there. It's compared to a away kit. It's quite. It wouldn't be far off at the colour.
Dark, isn't it? That's what I mean, though. I think if you see the away kit colour in the pictures, I feel like when you see it in person, it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah,
I feel like it's one of them. You've got to see it in person. You're going to understand the color a bit more. It sounds weird to say, but I can't quite grasp the color until I see it. I think
when I look at the black and gold, the only thing I ever wish was, when we had the centenary year and we had the white.
Oh, that was
the
best kit ever.
I wish we had a black kit though with gold as well.
I'm so glad that we won something that year.
Yeah,
because that kit is always going to go down in history now.
The red kit was nice as well. The red and green kit was nice as well. They were lovely kits that year.
Yeah.
That's a ladies kit.
Yeah, so that's the kits anyway, and obviously they haven't got any teasers for the third kit here. I could get the video up, but I'm not going to. Training well looks alright. So, should we have flick through? And then red. Where's red come from?
That's quite nice, that top, actually.
It does look nice.
That's nice as well.
Don't get where the red comes from in the theme.
Yeah.
I like that. That's nice.
That is nice, yeah, it is nice.
Nice.
Yeah. I've always liked the training where they have.
A lot of options.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel have done some good training stuff in all fairness. Yeah. I like it.
That's nice. Where's pink coming from?
Yeah, it's nice though. It's nice.
Like, yeah, it is nice.
Pink, isn't it? Yeah, I think they've done actually quite well, but they've done quite well with everything. But I'm still jury for me on the home shirt.
Yeah, the home kit's still a bit.
Until I see it in person, then
yeah,
it'll be out.
Cool. So that's the kits. So general opinion, I guess, is all right. Maybe we need to see more of them. Well, the home kit especially in use to have a final opinion, and the third kit still yet to come. We're guessing before West Brom. And to end the podcast, there's a little bit of other news we want to touch on only quickly. Nigel Morris, co-founder of Capital One, has been confirmed as an investor to the club as well. So if you remember, going a couple of weeks back before the Andy Coleman, is it Andy Coleman? I forgot his name now. The guy that's now the chairman.
Andy Coleman.
Yeah. Before he was announced as the chairman, there was rumours of Swans getting bought out. Yeah, there's rumours of a takeover of a selling in the summer, and the rumours all circulated around some guy from Capital One coming in and buying the club. Obviously, there was a bit of Chinese whispers going on, and this is what actually was the case. So this has obviously been confirmed now that Nigel Morris, co-founder of Capital One, he's a Welsh businessman, I believe, who has ties to Wales anyway. But yeah, 10 million, I think I read that he's put in. So I mean, look, that could all be used in 1 year. So seems like a lot of money. It's not really in the landscape of how much money it costs to run a football club and how much transfer fees cost. But you can't. You've got to be happy with any investment. I don't know what it means for the setup of the directors and what role he's going to have and how much involvement and all that sort of stuff, and if there's any future investment that comes from him. But another person on board is putting money in. So thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like I said, he's I think it's only a good thing, like you said, if he's you've got ties to Wales and that, and obviously, if he's passionate about the sport, it's only a good thing, isn't it? It's somebody who understands the landscape of, it's with the Americans, they just sort of see it as, for me, as business, isn't it? It's business. Whereas he knows, obviously being a British businessman, he understands football and the way that it's run. Possibly, and nobody, like I say, you don't go into football to make money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think it's a good thing. Hopefully, now we said we don't understand what the expenditure is to run a football club, but hopefully, you can invest a bit of money and we can use that to spend on players.
Yeah, hopefully. So all in all, I don't know if you've got any views on it before I round up.
No, I think it's just all been covered. Just we'll take what we can get at the moment, and I think you're right. I think we need kind of like a bit more, if you like, a bit more British influence on the business side of it, just to have a bit more of an understanding.
Yeah, so it's a label does a British businessman with Welsh heritage, so
Yeah,
whatever that means.
His grandmother's dog as well, sure.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, but yeah, like you gotta say it's good. I mean, some people say, "Oh, there's too many people now like making decisions and stuff, and that going to be bad." But then if they put money in, like you're saying, we don't spend money, we don't have enough money. If the criticism as well is like the owners are taking money out, like, but then someone's coming and putting money in, I don't think they're taking that straight. Like, do you know what I mean? They're not going to be taking that money straight out. It's going somewhere into the club, isn't it?
Of course.
I'm not going to get into that now, but obviously there's stuff going on. Hopefully, it results in good results on the pitch. Anyway,
I think they're trying to maneuver, aren't they? They're trying to make it. I think I'm hoping, fingers crossed, like we talked about earlier, they're trying to learn from their mistakes.
Yeah,
and they're trying to bring these like people in that where they can be, they can make it into like. I think the Americans, don't get me wrong, they don't want to be in the Championship. They don't want to be there. Anybody who thinks they want to be there is absolutely deluded. You know what I mean? The money isn't there. It's not in the Championship. It's in the Premier League. You know what I mean? Anybody with half a brain cell would know that. But I think that we've coming out of the Premier League years, and obviously the parachute payments ended and things like that. We had such a bad run where we bought bad players and we sold them for next to nothing, and there's big holes that needed filling. I think we probably more on a financial. We really like on a sound step now.
Yeah, they've recovered.
And move. You know what I mean? Now is the time to move. You don't want to move too early. You want to move in time.
Yeah. It seems to me what they're trying to do as well is make a team of people who have the influence at that high up level that are based around the club, and at least in the UK.
Yeah.
So maybe the issue with the January transfer window and the decision making and that time difference and the ties with the other investments the Americans might have that take away from the time to make the decisions that ultimately didn't get made in January. They've got a chairman in now who is going to be apparently living in Swansea, and other investors that are more UK based and perhaps have more of an understanding and will have more of an influence and idea of what's going on to maybe steer that ship from more of a closer area, like closer to the club rather than being overseas, which is what I guess one of the big criticisms has always been. Yeah.
Definitely.
So hopefully that results in improvement, if that's communication or just the run-in, I guess, of the club. So only time will tell. I do still miss Trevor Birch, but
he's a legend, that guy.
I've got a bone to pick with him, though. I'm not happy with the deal that he'd done with Sky for the TV deals. He should have picked the Zone, but we've had that conversation. The Zone were going to show all the games, weren't they? And they still went with Sky, who were going to charge a fortune and not show all the games. So there we go.
He's probably the most transparent man I've ever met. Like, you know what I mean? He was on the money. You know what I mean? He knew the ins and outs of what was happening at the club, didn't you? At that point in time. But
well, he went up really quick, didn't he? He went to Spurs, and then he was like head of EFL, didn't he?
EFL, he was.
Yeah, so that's what he is now, isn't it? So that's why he's made this deal for the rights for the TV. Anyway, been a long one, but I think it's fair because we haven't been here for a while. Probably had a bit to talk about, and the confirmation happening during the episode. Could never make that up. How often does something like that happen? We didn't even get something like that on transfer deadline day that time we did a stream.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, that was the January window. Nothing
happened. To be fair, it's classic Swans. There's absolutely no point talking about no one's coming in. Last day, nobody's coming in. I think Carl and Grant was close, and then the plug got pulled.
He's free now. Oh, they're trying to sell him now.
They're trying to get rid of him now. But I tell you what, that'd be a good sign if we get rid of Pirro.
Yeah, I don't know about top earner though.
No, not top earner maybe, but maybe he'd be a good, puts himself.
We need someone.
Knows where the net is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you both for coming on. Hopefully, we get to see more of you this season, Nick, especially if you're going to get yourself to some away games up the north. Be good to get your northeast. Is that what you want to say? Is that what you?
No. No. I'll definitely come back on, lads. Whenever you have me, and when I'm available.
Anytime. We always love to get multiple opinions on you. Especially when we don't agree, is always a good bit of a discussion then, isn't it? But yeah, cheers, Lee, as always. And next week, maybe we'll try and get some insight into Michael Duff. Otherwise, as always, thank you all for watching. If you're still here, don't forget we are going to announce giveaway in the next video. And as always, subscribe, comment down below all your thoughts on Michael Duff coming in as Swans manager. You're going to miss Russell Martin, or is it just done now? We've forgotten about him. And what do we need to be successful this season? Look forward to reading them all, and we shall catch you in the next podcast. So see you soon.
Bye.